What's your earliest memory that you can think of? Like far back, as far as you can go.
Well, I remember the one that I think where I'm the youngest that I can remember is when we were at someone's house. I think Michael's house, and because I just remember little pillars.
Which is our cousin Michael. Pillars. What do you mean by that?
Like, you know how when you come into that and I don't know if you remember his house. What actually I don't even remember like what his house looked like, but in my memory, it looked
Do you
like
have an idea?
it looked like when you walked in, there's like these
A pole, huh?
thing.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. But like when you walked in, there was a pole there this way, and the rooms were on the left, right? At least from what I can remember.
Yeah, that's why there's like little things. That's why I think it was his house, but there was a bunch of people, and I remember I remember I had to be a little ass nigga because um I remember like knees, people's knees. So I had to be little.
Yeah, that's
And
hella small.
I was looking. I got scared or something, and then I ran, and I thought I started hugging my mom's leg because I was scared or something. I don't know if it was a dog or what. Started hugging my mom's leg, and then someone pat my head and said, "Oh, don't be scared. He's not gonna bite you or something." And I looked up, and it's not my mom. It's Michael's mom. And then I got scared because I'm like, "Oh, I thought you were my mom. You're not my mom."
But at that time, can you talk?
I don't remember.
Oh, but that's as far back as you can go.
That's the earliest memory that I can think of.
The only thing that I can think of is well, the earliest memory, well, it's because you know that picture of us, that we're riding what is Six Flags, and
No, it's Great America.
was it Great America? I don't, but you know what I'm talking about, when we were going down that water slide, whatever, and it's all of us that going down that slide.
It was
We
a
have
water
that
park.
picture.
It was like an amusement park, but we were in a log coming down, and there'd be water. It's like a water ride, whatever the fuck. And we had to get in two different logs because not everybody didn't fit. So, and then they took pictures of you and they gave them to you after the ride was done. But yeah, I remember. I think it was. I'm not sure who went, but I do remember seeing that picture.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that I could think of. But that's not even really a memory. That's just what is that considered a memory? Because I only remember that because of that picture. That I remember seeing that picture.
You don't have any memories of anything?
Earliest memory
of nothing.
I'm trying to think back when I was a kid.
You don't remember going up and when we lived in the ranch where we went up and down that hill?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's probably it. Then being in the ranch, and running around because my dad used to work in the fields. He used to work in the tractors, and I remember me and you and our sisters. We went and we would jump the ditches. We would jump the ditches. Didn't we have a bike? We would run, and you'd be like, run and jump over them. And them bitches were pretty big, from what I can remember, but I was small. And we jumped just to what? To go say hi to my dad or what?
We were hungry.
Oh, because we used to live in a ranch. And what? My mom wasn't home?
My mom worked in a factory looking thing. She'd be gone for a few hours, like half a day, or she'd be gone for a few hours.
Because my dad would be the one who like checks up on us every once in a while.
Yeah, but he had to work too. But my dad, so we used to live in a ranch where my dad helped a farmer, and because he helped them, he provide housing.
And this was what?
This was in the 90s.
In the 90s. But my dad has been working there since the 80s.
Yeah, he was there
because he was there for a while.
Yeah, but my mom was gone. She was working, and my dad was working, and he would check up on us. And I remember it was me, you, and Shelly, and we were hungry.
It was Nora too, I think. It was
all of us.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this was in Stockton. This is in Stockton. On the outskirts of Stockton,
Yeah.
But it was still Stockton. And when we didn't have no neighbors or nothing like that. So it was just us.
And it was a huge, because the dude owned a shit ton of acres. And my dad would help him farm them. And why he was gone all the damn time. But I remember we were hungry. And we all talked about it. Like, should we go find our dad? Whatever. Because we knew he was in a truck or a tractor or something. And he was just doing whatever he was doing. Because it was like, I don't know shit about farming. But I knew he had like, it was some type of where he would run water from the ditch, and he'd run them so I went and it watered the plants or the farmer, the rat, whatever the fuck. So I would see him like install these pipe things so that water goes from side to side. But with those ditches that we crossed were, what do you think?
From my memory,
They were big.
they were huge, but we were kids.
But they only had a little bit of water on.
Yeah, they would only have a little bit of water, but it would be all muddy, and we would jump. We would jump them, so they couldn't be that big, huh? Because how old were we?
We were
Like
probably
6, 7.
Yeah.
I was probably like what, 5, 6, and we ran. I remember we made it to him though. We jumped. Didn't we have a bike, and we were trying to throw the bike over the ditch, but we got it. It fell in the ditch. And we jumped over like 2 or 3 of them, and then we finally made it to my dad. And I remember going to the tractor or whatever he was on, and he opened the door, and I don't remember what we told him, but then he said, "Go home." And then we jumped back, and we went home. But I didn't remember it was because we were hungry.
Yeah, we were hungry.
But I do remember. I remember one time in the ranch when we were just sitting at the house, and I think it was our older sister. She was like, let's prank my dad. And I was like, what are we going to do? And she's like, let's put apple juice in cups and let's pretend like we're drinking beer. I think, did we put it in beer bottles? Do you remember this or no?
I don't remember this.
We grabbed apple juice, and he's like, let's prank my dad. I don't remember if we put them in actual beer bottles. I don't think so. I think it was just like cups. And we waited until he got home, and when he opened the door, we all acting like we were drinking it, like we were drinking beer. And I don't remember what he told us, but we all shared a laugh after, because Nora told him, "No te creas, es jugo," or something like that. Because he said we're drinking beer. I think she said that to him. My older sister, she told her, I think we're drinking beer, and my dad just looked at us, and she's like, "No te creas, es juice." Something like that. You don't remember that?
Mm-mm.
That's probably the earliest memory I could think of. But remember, too, another thing that happened in the ranch. Because, like, we're just kids growing up. The only friends we have was each other. So it was me, you, and our 2 sisters at the time. Because Alex wasn't born yet. And we would just ride our bikes around. We would ride our bikes around. And I remember one day, because we had a van. And I got in the driver's seat. And you were passenger. And I think my dad left the car on. He left the car on. And when he did that, I jumped into the driver's seat and you were in the passenger seat. And I was just messing with what do they call that? The handle, the shifting handle?
Yeah. The shift lever?
Yeah, I was messing with it. And I somehow put it in neutral, or I put it in drive. And then when I did that, my legs are so small, I couldn't touch the pedals or anything. And even if I did, I didn't know how to drive. Or I didn't even have the idea of how to drive. So I put it in drive, and it slowly started moving towards the fence. That like aluminum fence we used to have. Huh?
It was a shed. It was it was one of those sheds that my dad built just to keep the cars out of the rain. It was just wood and then aluminum sheet metal to fucking just where you can park, a little car lot shit where you just park. But you were outside of that. Because he had backed it up because we were going to go to church. And he left us in there, and he left the car running. And I remember you getting in there, and you were messing with.
But there was a ditch on the other side of that, huh?
Yeah, behind the port where the thing was, there's a ditch.
There was a ditch, and I remember I put it in drive. The car slowly started moving forward, and I don't remember saying anything, but I remember you jumping out. You jumping out the window. You didn't even open the door. You just jumped out the window. I think you said, "I'm gonna go get my dad."
Well, I don't remember. I do remember just getting out hella fast because the car started moving. I just knew in my head this is dangerous.
You just left
and
my
I'm
ass.
not being a part of it. Yeah, and
You just left my ass, and I
jumped
just
out.
stayed there because I didn't know what to do. And I think you said, "I'm gonna go get my dad." And by the time you came back, I had already hit the aluminum, the fence.
Yeah, because there was a post.
Yeah, I hit it, but the car wasn't moving fast enough to do any real damage. It just kind of like bent it, tilted it a little bit. But like, because if I would have hit it hard, I would have went into the ditch. I just remember you jumping out. I'm gonna go get my dad, and then by the time you came back, I already had hit.
Yeah, when I jumped out and then I ran inside, and my dad was making juice or something. He was like putting something in a cup, and I was like, "Mem is driving the car," and then he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Mem is driving the car." Then we ran outside, but you had already, you still, just like
I
you
was
never,
stalled already.
yeah, you already had hit.
Do you
that little
remember
post.
anything he said? Because I don't remember anything.
No, I don't remember. He probably yelled at you, but
I don't remember anything
I don't
about
know.
getting in trouble. I don't remember anything like that.
I just remember my mom said, "Why'd you leave him in there? Like, why would you leave the car running with them in there?" But he's like, "I never thought that he would have got on the thing and shifted the shit."
Yeah. And how old was I? Like 5, 6? Because when do you remember how long were we there? We were there until I believe I was like what, 8? Until we moved out?
Well, the next house we moved into was
Was
Sutter
what?
Street.
Oh shit, I forgot about Sutter Street. I thought we jumped straight to Acacia.
No, we went to Sutter Street.
I forgot about that shit. Damn.
We went to Sutter Street.
See, that's crazy because I told you sometimes, like if we wouldn't have these talks, I would forget about that shit with time because like it's still there, but it's cloudy.
So
And then when you bring it up, I'm like, damn, it just unlocked a new memory. I got stories from that shit now, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy that I don't like the fact that I can forget shit. That I look forward to the future where you can capture everything without even trying, huh? Like the fucking PlayStation. You know how the PlayStation, you don't even have to hit record. You can just hit the share button now, and it will tell you want to save the previous 5 minutes, 15 or 30. You know, like that.
So it's just constantly recording?
Yeah, or you can just look like, well, what happened on this day? And just go back and view it in a video or whatever.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure that'd be possible eventually.
Okay, so we moved to, when did we move there? Because we were there for what, like 2 years?
Yeah.
Probably, huh?
At Sutter Street.
So
yeah.
then we moved pretty early then.
We were still going to Holt though.
Because we hit Stockton, like the inner skirts of Stockton, the city, when I was like 8 or 9.
Grunsky, because I remember Grunsky, I was in the 6th grade. Grunsky, it was Grunsky Elementary School was Acacia Street, and I was in the 6th grade. So at Sutter Street, we were still going. We were taking the bus.
Oh yeah, because
somebody will pick us up or some shit. Remember, we used to ride in that van for a long.
For Grunsky?
No, for Holt.
Oh, for Holt, yeah.
Remember,
Holt is way back.
But when we were when we lived in Sutter Street, we were still going to Holt. We didn't start going to Grunsky until we moved to Acacia. But yeah, we were there.
So when do you think then? Yeah, because we would ride the bus to go to Holt every day. I remember not wanting to go sometimes. And I remember telling Mom, I don't want to go. And Mom was like, you're going to school. And I would cry to, like, hopefully she would sympathize with me, like, to let me stay. Hell no, she never did. So I get on the bus. I would go on the bus and I'd be crying in the bus sometimes. Like, I don't want to go. But she would just tell me to go.
Yeah, my mom's always been, or our mom has always been, like, school's the most important. And, like, no matter what,
you're going to school.
If
you're sick, like, things have changed now. But, like, if you're sick, you're going to school. This doesn't matter. You're going to school. And it's just how the way it's been.
Yeah, if you have piojos, you know how they send your ass home? Yeah. You got piojos, this buzz cut your ass, next day, ship your ass to school.
Yeah, that's so Holt was what? When did we leave Holt? When did we leave the ranch? Because
5th grade for me.
Our cousin used to live in that ranch too, huh? This is what I remember, and you
No.
tell me. Hold on. I said what I
Okay.
remember, and you tell me if I'm correct, because like you were older, so your shit is probably less cloudy than mine. I remember there was a house there, and I don't know where the hell in my head. I don't know if it was up the hill, because it was a hill that went up. There was another house there, and from what I remember going somewhere in the trail, and there was a house, and we went into that house, and I don't know whose house that was. Was that our cousin's house? Because let me tell you, there's another one. If that's incorrect, there was a house right next to our house, and that's where our cousin used to live. But and either that's where they used to live, but I don't remember where that comes from, the house, because I can't remember who lived there. I don't know if it was in the outskirts or maybe outside of the ranch.
So, when we first, or the earliest memory from our house, the earliest memory was, I'm not sure where it was, but it was in that location where that ranch was. And we lived in, it was a few homes that were next to each other. It was like apartments type shit. From now that I'm an adult, I can see it was because it was people living next to each other.
In the ranch?
No, it was a different place. But it was in the same area.
Oh, okay.
Like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but it was around there somewhere. That was the original first place we ever lived in when we went from California. That, from my memory, that's the earliest house we've ever lived in. And Jackie and all them, they lived next to us, or a few houses down, but we were in super close proximity. And then from there, we moved to the ranch. And Jackie from there moved on to that other small little greenhouse. Remember where we spent the night sometime where they had bunk beds and stuff?
Maybe that's the house. I don't remember. It's kind of cloudy.
So then Jackie moved again. Remember, they lived on a hill, like you said, and they lived on a house at the top.
I remember going up the hill, and I remember on the left there was a house, and the first thing, if you look, it was two big windows. Like it was doors. It was doors. And then I think there was windows on the side, but there were sliding doors. Do you remember that?
No, I think that's the one on the hill, because they lived there for a little bit too.
I remember that, but I don't remember. Like I just know.
I just remember it was green. One of the houses was green.
I don't know. I just when I look back at it, I don't know. It's cloudy. But
they moved. We did live next door to them for a little bit, and then we moved, and then they moved. I think they moved twice. We moved to the ranch.
Yeah,
because
they would
visit them.
They would hang out with us, and we would even have when it was our birthday and stuff, we would celebrate it together. And Jackie's our cousin, for those who don't know. Shout out to Jackie. But that's like the earliest thing that I can remember. But see, I remember that house, but I don't know whose house was it. But for some reason, it always stuck in my mind. So I wonder, did something good happen there for me to?
I think Aaron lived there too.
Did he?
I want to say he lived there too, but we were all hella little kids. But you and Jackie were little, because I barely remember running around. I don't, but I think you were a baby. You had to have been a baby. But I remember little small things running around. My memory starts getting a lot better once we moved out of there and we were in the ranch, and Jackie lived up in the hill in the house up there. Then the memories start coming back.
So that's the earliest memory, huh? That you can remember, because that's what I can remember. That's all I can remember. I'm pretty sure if you mentioned some things, I would remember it, but I don't remember a lot. I was a kid back then. But we moved, right? We moved a couple of times. You said in the ranch. I didn't know at all. I don't remember that. But then we moved to Shutter Street, and we were there for 2 years. I remember. Do you have any stories of Shutter Street?
Well, Sutter Street was like hood. It was hood. And the reason why I say that is because it was so I remember just going, there was a corner store. Everywhere, for whatever reason, anywhere we went, there's always a corner store.
And I
within
remember
proximity.
And I remember the corner store too.
And I would go buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards
At that corner store?
at that corner store because they had the thing where you put the 2 quarters in, you put it in, and it'll spit out a random card.
Old school, huh? But I think people don't remember. People don't. Nowadays, the kids don't know about like going to that machine and just putting those quarters in and then you pull that out and it's in a flap.
Yeah.
And then you could see it. It would be a random card, huh? It would be a random card. And we would have we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, huh? I don't even remember how to even play that shit anymore. But we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Did we play Pokemon too? Yeah, we did play Pokemon. And another thing we played was marbles. That's maybe a unique thing. I'm pretty sure people played it, but marbles was like a big thing. Because I remember we had a collection. And we would take that shit to school, our marbles. And you would play against other teams. And I believe it was like a circle or something where you had to put your marbles in and you had to knock the marbles out of that circle.
Yeah. And
That what that was?
I think, I don't remember how you played, but I remember if you knocked it out,
You kept it or something like
and you
that.
kept it forever.
Yeah, and you kept it forever.
That was your marble.
And there was different marbles and bigger marbles and smaller marbles.
Yeah.
And I remember like they had different color waves.
Yeah.
And there were some were like look clean and tight as hell.
Yeah.
But I remember one time in the playground, a dude told me to play marbles, and I was like, all right. And I played him, and he took my marbles. That motherfucker won, and he took my shit. And I remember I told you. I told you, I think you told me, where's your marbles at or something. I'm like, he took my marbles. And you went and played them, huh?
I don't remember.
You went and played them and you won my marble back.
I don't remember.
From what I remember.
I remember marbles, but I don't remember a nigga stealing your marbles.
I'll try to see if I could find an image or something that I could put up for, because I'm pretty sure like the people who are our age, they probably did that shit too. So, but that's like, marbles was the shit back then. You did that, huh?
Yeah.
Boom.
You'd feel it. I don't know.
With force. You'd hit that shit with force. Hella hard.
I'm not sure. I don't remember the rules and all that, but I do remember everybody did it. Everybody had marbles. Everybody played for. And the thing that was tight is like you kept it. You played it and you kept it. It wasn't like, and that was just standard.
I think if you lose, you keep the best marbles or something. I don't remember, because I don't know if you kept every marble you knocked out. I don't know if that's.
I don't remember either.
Because he took my best marbles, and it was the best one. I think it was big ones. Cause you know how they were fat boys.
Mm-hmm.
He took my shit. I remember that.
Yeah, but
that was whole. That was whole. And I remember, like, that's probably a memory I remember. And another memory that I have from Holt is when my dad came to school. When my dad came to school, like he said he was gonna come. And it was such a big deal to me. And that's why I'm like, I feel bad for the people who don't have a dad in their life. Because I'll never forget that. Like, I remember I don't know how they organized it, but I just knew that my dad was coming. And I told all my friends, my dad's coming. And when he came, he showed up. And he showed up with like 3-4 gallons of orange juice. The old school ones. And he came and gave all the kids orange juice.
And cookies.
And I remember, I don't know about
and orange
cookies.
juice.
I just remember orange juice. And I remember like being hella happy seeing my dad at school and being able to tell people that's my dad.
Yeah.
So that sense of pride of like, that's my dad.
Yeah, because when you're a kid, you view your dad, especially as a kid, as boys, you view your dad as a superhero. And for him to come to your school, it's hella exciting.
It's a big deal to like be able to just like, it's like just to show him off. Huh. Because my dad is like, especially as a kid, he's amazing. Even now, I still think my dad is the shit. My dad to me is like top tier person in my life. So my mom is as well. But there's things that a man plays a role in. And my dad definitely played a huge role in my life. So I feel bad for people who unfortunately don't have their father. But because that memory I'd always hold. I remember like remember the feeling I had from seeing my dad and telling everybody, that's my dad right there. And everybody was all happy and, oh, this is your dad, or whatever. My dad, and my dad only knew Spanish. And he pulled up to that school and I think nobody didn't know Spanish there
No, it was
in my class. I don't.
yeah, the kids.
The kids. I don't know.
Some kids, because I remember some of the photos that I still
yeah,
remember.
we still have photos. If I find them, I'll put them up.
I remember seeing a white kid, and I remember how the white kid only didn't speak Spanish.
Brian.
I don't remember his name, but I do remember in the photo I seen him, and I'm like,
in my photo or what?
Yeah, in the photo where my dad's pouring the juice.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
And the dude was eating a cookie or something.
Yeah, because we have the photo too. I'm gonna see if I can find it, and if I can, I'll put it up so I can see. Because that's a hell of a memory for me. And we used to run marathons at Holt too. I remember they would get us on the bus, and they were like, to drive us hella far. I don't know how far.
It was a mile.
I don't really know how far it really was. But as a kid, I remember they drove us hella far. And then they just let us out and said, run back to school. Because that place, that place, there was nothing there.
It was fields.
Yeah, it was just empty roads. So they were, I guess they didn't worry about cars coming through or anything.
Well, they shut the road off.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they would shut the road off. But there was not much traffic there.
And I remember we would race for prizes and who would be first place. And I remember when we ran, I wanted to get first place. And I think I got like 4th or 5th. 3rd, 4th, or 5th. I don't remember. But I remember running, and my friend, I don't remember his name, but I passed him, and he seen me pass him, and he's like, wait up for me. He's like, wait for me. So I would slow down, and we would be at the same pace. And then I'd be like, you got to pick it up. I'm trying to win. And he's like, I can't go faster. He's like, let's be the same spot. He's like, just stay with me. And I should have just smoked his ass. But I stayed with him. I stayed with him the whole thing. And I remember all we got was those water bottles? I don't remember what they're called. With the suction cup, almost like the old school Gatorades.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still sell those. Yeah, like you squish them. Yeah. They gave us one of those with I think like some writing on it. I don't remember.
Probably the whole logo or something.
That's all they gave us. And all because I stayed with them. I probably would have got like 3rd or something.
Well, they gave trophies to the people who were like came in first, and then Nana would get a lot of those bitches.
I never got one.
She would always, because it always, so they would line everybody up, everyone from the school, every grade, and it started at like 2nd grade or 3rd grade. I can't remember. They went first, and they got like 30-second head start, and then the next one would go, and then the next one would go, and that's how they did it. And I remember Nana was like in 7th or 8th grade. So she haul ass, and she would pass me up. And I'd be like, wait for me, Nona. she wouldn't wait.
Yeah, she would just take off.
She would just take off.
Yeah. Another thing, because I think we're all over the place because we were at Shutters. But another thing before we move on to Shutter is the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I remember going, like, this is for the people who know Yu-Gi-Oh cards or still remember Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I remember going to school and a kid showing me the left leg of Exodia. And I don't know if it was fake or real. But back then, it's more likely to be real, right? Because we were drawing them bitches. They were getting them from the store.
Well, they had those China ones too.
Yeah, they had those fake ass ones.
They had those China ones. But those came a little bit later.
Yeah, and I think that was more, This dude showed me a leg. Because remember, Exodia was a 5-piece? And he showed me a leg, and he cherished that shit. He showed me, he's like, look. And I remember seeing the leg and being like, that's hella tight. Because I knew, because everybody had talked, there's 5 pieces and shit. And you, I don't know if you put them on the board and the game ends. I don't remember the rules, if you get all 5. But I remember seeing the leg, and that was hella tight. Because Yu-Gi-Oh cards was the shit back then. But then later on, I would see the fake ones and shit like that. But them bitches were like $300 a piece, huh? I think on certain places in display.
Yeah, she was a lot of money. That shit was worth money because even at the Pulga, like once you started seeing them in the Pulga, that's when the shit started getting a little fake. But when you would buy them from Walmart in the little packs and stuff, I think it was more likely back then, at least early on, that it was legit.
Yeah, but Pulga is the flea market, for those who don't know.
Yeah, but
you could tell right away them bitches were fake. It just look ugly as hell. And then you flip it in the back of the card, and it looks washed out.
Yeah, the color wasn't clean.
It wasn't clean, yeah.
Yeah. When I used to go to so when we go to Sutter Street, back to Sutter Street, when I used to walk to go get those Yu-Gi-Oh cards from the corner store, I would come out not all the time, but sometimes I'm gonna come across a kid that lived a block before I got to the corner store, and sometimes he was cool with me, and sometimes he was a bitch. And this time I was coming home. I had just bought Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like 3-4 of them, and I was coming home, and then the guy was like, "Let me see your Yu-Gi-Oh cards," and I already knew.
Was he older than you?
Yeah, like
Okay.
a year older, 2 years older than me. And I was skinny ass little motherfucker, and this dude was a bigger, he weighed more than me. We were the same height, but he weighed more than me. And I was coming back from the corner store, and he's like, "Let me see your Yu-Gi-Oh cards." And I was like, "Nah." And he's like, "Come on, stop being a bitch. Let me see your Yu-Gi-Oh card." And I didn't want to show it to him, and then he tried to snatch them, and I put them in my pocket. And then he was his brother's friend or something, same age, my age or whatever. And then because they were sitting on the porch, and then when the other guy came, the other guy followed, and when the dude tried to snatch him, that dude told him to grab him, and then the dude grabbed me.
Another kid his age?
The other kid grabbed me and held my arms, and then the other dude started hitting me in my stomach, bam, bam, and then this was probably the first fight ever in my whole life. And this dude's hitting me in my stomach, and because I'm trying, the dude had my hands like this, but I was trying to keep his hands away from my pockets because I thought he was gonna go
steal your shit.
Yeah, so he started hitting me, and then I grab because the dude's grabbing me like this, and I remember this tree in the sidewalk, and I pushed myself back like this, and I hit that dude in the tree. Hit him in the tree, and he let go.
Like his back hit the tree?
Yeah, because he was behind me.
Because he was hugging
I just threw myself back. I didn't know what was behind me, but I just threw myself back. And at that dude hit. I don't know if his head hit or what, but he let go of me, and then I took off running. And I could see his mom was like, whatever. I forgot what his name is, but let's just say his name's like Jamie or whatever. He's like, "Jamie, get your ass inside the house." And then that was it. But I remember after that, I didn't want to go by myself to that corner store because I'm like, these dudes gonna fuck me up every time I go over there.
Is this the same kids that we used to have problems with all the time? And I remember one time they were lighting fireworks. I think it was close to the 4th of July. And they would throw it at us and we would throw it back to them. Remember? You remember that? And that shit, you don't remember?
No.
Remember they would we weren't playing with them. They would just wait for us. And when they seen us, they would light the fireworks and they would throw it at us. And I remember we would throw it back to be like, "Fuck you." And you went to throw one back and it blew up on you and it hit you in the eye.
Oh, they were the smoke ones.
I remember I hit you in the eye.
Yeah, the smoke ones. So they would throw, I do remember now. It was like a smoke grenade looking shit that they would light and it would spit color out.
It would spit sparks.
Smoke.
Huh.
It would be smoke.
Oh.
It would just shoot out smoke. And they would throw it at us. And it would just be, and then, we would throw that shit back at those niggas. But I went over there to go pick one up and it shot something. Something hit me in the eye. I just remember going to try to pick it up. And then I do remember that shit hit me in my eye and that shit burned like a motherfucker.
Yeah, but it was like a rivalry between me and us, right? Do you remember, I remember there was this one time where we were walking home and we seen them. And then I remember I said, "I'm going to talk shit to them," or something like that. And you were like, "No, don't do it," or something. And I said something to him, let me know because it's a little cloudy. So if you can fill in a little bit of details, then go ahead. But we seen them and then I said something, "You bitch," or whatever, some shit like that. Scream fucking with them. And then they started chasing us. And we start running and we ran home. And I don't know if that was the time where I locked the door and I opened and jumped out. Was it that time or this was separate?
Separate.
Well, like I said, we had a rivalry between these kids.
They were different kids though.
But whatever, kids on the block, we had trouble with it. Kids on the block didn't like us. And then we never did shit. But they didn't like us. And every time they would know, it was almost like a thing, right? to us.
Well, it was because we were the only
We were the only Mexicans in a primarily black neighborhood. We were the only Mexicans, and I guess because we were Mexican, it was like, I don't want to say they're racist because they were kids, you know. So it was just maybe like they're different, so fuck them, or
well,
they're
I
different.
think they were family. I think a lot of them knew each other because of they lived in the same street for a long time.
Oh.
And where we lived, there was Mexicans like in a few houses down, but there was nobody that we hung out with that were Mexican. And the people who lived on, because it was a duplex, and the people who lived upstairs, they were Mexican too, but they were all adults. And we were the only Mexican kids, especially boys. So we were always outside. And I remember there was a kid that was spraying you with water. There was a kid next door who was spraying you with water. Remember? Or no. And then I got mad and I grabbed the water hose and I sprayed the fuck out of this motherfucker.
I remember a couple incidents with water, but I'm trying to see if like if it's the one that you're gonna lead up to.
And then I remember
is it the one you sprayed the fuck out of him? He got hella pissed and then he chased us and we ran.
Yeah,
we ran to the backyard.
It was a big dude.
Yeah, we ran to the backyard of our house and there was a door in the backyard and we opened it and went inside. And this motherfucker grabbed the hose and was shooting the water in.
No, he grabbed the water hose and he aimed it at the door. And then my dad, when we ran inside, we locked the door. My dad's like, what the hell was going on?
Why are you running?
And I was like, this dude's chasing us.
Yeah,
so we ran away from him. And then my dad, being a dad, he's like, oh, who the fuck's chasing my kid, right? He went outside and the dude sprayed him.
And it was a kid. It was a dude.
Yeah, it was a
kid. And he sprayed my dad and my dad went and took the water hose from him and yelled at him in Spanish, huh?
Yeah, told him to get
the hell out of here.
And then he's like, it's not even your house. You guys are renting. And my dad's like, well, I pay the bills here, so this is my motherfucking house.
Some shit like that. And he left. What was the time when I opened the door? You remember when I opened the door and hopped out? I want to tell that story.
So it was the same kids that always fuck with us. It was mainly, I think you had a grudge from this specific kid because you had I don't know if it's his brother or something. He wanted to ride your scooter, and you let him ride your scooter, and then they didn't want to give it back, and you took it from him, and then he got upset because I don't know if it's his brother or what, but we were never on cool terms, and it's like whenever we were outside, usually something always ended up happening, and from my memory, all I remember is we peeking through the door, the little circle thing.
We did something. And
to run inside.
To piss him off. And then we ran inside to the front door and he started banging on that shit. Don't. And we just stayed by the door. And I just remember saying, open the door, huh? And did I tell you what I was going to do?
You were going to go sock this dude or something?
Yeah, did I tell you though?
Yeah, but we were waiting for him.
Because we were timing that shit, huh?
Yeah, but we were waiting for him. He was sitting down, like his back was to us. And we were peeking through the little peephole on the door. And you were like, when I count to 3, open the door.
But he was walking away.
Yeah.
He was walking away. So maybe he sat down for a little bit. But when he started walking away, I was like, open the door. And you open the door. And I ran out and I socked him in the back of the head. Boom. And then I hit him once. I just hit him once. Boom. I turned around and ran back inside the house. Because I didn't want to. He was bigger than us. I didn't want to fuck with him. But I was just like, I ain't no bitch. I hit this motherfucker. So I ran up and hit him, and then we ran back into the house, and he got hella mad. He was banging on the shit. But that shit was funny though. That's another one that I won't ever forget. Me hitting him in the back of the head.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But I remember too. Like I don't remember why they didn't like us, but I remember them people in the neighborhood because not everybody in the neighborhood was mean to us. I'm not trying to give off that image. When I was walking home or something around, there was other kids. There was other kids or an adult who seen me and invited me to go play basketball. And it was in a building. He's like, do we play basketball every afternoon, this day, something like that. And he's like, you should come. And then one day I went, and I remember going, and I think those kids were there, and I remember just feeling like, because of those kids, like unwelcome there. And I was playing basketball, but it didn't really seem like they wanted me to be there. Not the whole group of people, just those people, those kids, whatever. Because I remember them making fun of me and stuff like that. But like, I never seen it. Is that bullying? Right? Because I never seen it as like bullying. I just seen like they fucking with me. That's it.
I think
But I only went that one time, and after I seen like, oh, I didn't really feel that comfortable because some kids were there too who didn't like us. I stopped going.
no, yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, but I went by myself to that place.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be considered bullying.
Because I was like, because when somebody asked me that question before, have I ever been bullied? And I was like, no. But was I wrong? Is that bullying?
I think technically it's bullying, but I
like,
feel
what
like
is bullying really? Is bullying when somebody just constantly picks on you and you do nothing back? That's what I thought like bullying was. Because I thought that's like somebody taking advantage of somebody because they're scared to fight or won't fight or whatever, or just because they're bigger than them. To me, that's a bully. But I guess anything is bullying, right? Constantly picking on a kid, whether he fight back, is bullying, right? Because you're picking on him for no reason. So I guess I technically have been bullied. But have you been bullied?
I don't. I think I never viewed it as like
bullying.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, you got to watch out for this guy.
And never once did I say I ain't stepping out the door because of this dude. I just said if we run into him, we might have to run or whatever the case may be. But it was never like, I can't go outside because they won't let me play. Nah, we would go out there and we would just, whatever happened, would happen. And that's why we had so much issues with those kids, because we would always fuck with each other. We would throw fireworks at each other, with each other and shit like that, with the hose. But that's like, do you remember being bullied?
No. I remember people wanting to like fuck me up,
but
and not like they never. I remember one time there's this dude. I remember one time specifically. It was so when we lived in Acacia, one of the dudes that you had issues with, his cousin was my age or a year older than me, and we went to the same middle school, and I was in his class, and I knew we had issues with them
from the jump.
When the first time I seen him was when he pulled up on us with his cousin, and he wanted to fight, and then Junior stepped to him, and then the reason why they didn't fight was because the lady was like, "Hey, where's your? ¿Qué están haciendo? Métete para adentro," whatever. And then the dude said that then it was not from Junior's side, but from the other guys. I forgot what his name was. He because of the lady was telling him to leave, and then he left. And I'm like, that's the first time I seen him. And then I think it was summertime, and then come the following school year, he was in my class, and I'm like, oh, I remember this motherfucker, so he's gonna remember me because I'm with. Usually, it's
by
like
affiliation. Huh?
Yeah, if you cool with that dude and he ain't cool with you, automatically you're gonna get it too.
And it's like, it's on site, huh? Stockton is where I learned that from. On site. On site doesn't mean we talk shit back and forth constant. No. On site sees wherever I see you, it's on. And they had the same mentality. It wasn't just us. And that's just the way it was. It's on. And that's how plenty of fights happen with me. But and shout out to Junior though, because I remember Junior stepping up a lot of the times when it was somebody older stepping up. Like, motherfucker's a gangster. He would step up. I remember one time, I don't know if it's the same person. You're talking about our neighbor's cousin or no? I don't want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So, same thing with him. No, it wasn't with him. It's with another person. what's his name is what I'm gonna call him on some Cassidy shit. Everybody who we're just gonna call everybody what's his name. Well, I'm gonna call everybody what's his name on some Cassidy shit because I heard that from a Cassidy song. For the story, I'm gonna call this boy what's his name because he said he ain't no rat or some shit. I'm gonna call this boy what's his name. But this person I had problems with, that motherfucker would come to our block, and like every time you come to our block, it was risky, and every time we went to theirs, it was risky. I remember, I think it was Junior telling us, yeah, you don't go over there by yourself. You don't go over there by yourself because they're going to be on some shit. But I remember when they came on our block, because they would just look for trouble. They would just look for it. They came on our block and they were on an electric scooter. And they pulled up past, I was at Junior's house. They pulled up in front, like just passing by, and they were mugging us hella bad. And Junior seen them. And when you do that, automatic problem with damn near everybody. You know, what's up? What you mugging for? This bitch, what you doing? And his motherfucker went back, turned around and did it again, cruised by. And then Junior said something to him. And then this dude hopped off, the older one hopped off. Junior walked up to the fence and these fools were like face to face. And Junior was saying something to him. You know, I'll beat your ass. I don't know what he was saying. And they were just looking at each other and they're about to go at it. And Junior's mom came out and said, Junior, he's like, mete pa dentro.
No, it's a different time.
He's like, mete pa dentro. And Junior was like ready to beat this dude's ass. And Junior can fight. So he would have whooped him. But I remember him stepping up. Like, it was just a thing, man. That's certain things that I missed because there was like almost a moral thing. Because when we would fight somebody, I remember somebody beat up somebody and he was like, Meme, you're his age, so you gotta fight. And I was like, it wasn't even my problem. And I'm like, all right, like I'll fight. Because to me, like coming up in Stockton, to me, it was almost like you had to prove yourself. It was like, to me, I wanted to show that I'm with it all the way. So whenever time shit came, I ain't no bitch, whatever, let's go. But that's just how it was. And we just shared a lot of memories as kids with them, with a bunch of people in that area.
And you know what's crazy is that I'm not gonna take credit for this because who the fuck knows. But I told Carlos, say spend the night. Right? That's before they moved in over there. And I told him he spend the night, right? And he spent the night. And then we were walking. I don't know where the hell we were going, but we were walking and there was a house. And there was a house for sale.
We told them, we're like, there's a house for sale right here. And
they had little papers. They had little papers in the front.
Oh, the flyers, yeah.
Yeah, little flyer things. And I think he took one with him.
And we went and we showed him and we didn't think anything of it. We were just showing him there's a house there. And he went home and told his parents, huh?
I'm thinking.
And then next thing you know,
the next memory, they're there.
Yeah, they actually moved in. They actually moved in. So that's why it was we lived so close to each other, a couple of houses down, and we would spend Christmas together. Huh?
I think for me, they had a big influence on my mentality.
I think all of us had a big influence on each other as kids. Like I wonder how they feel about it because those are some of my best memories. But you know, they never left. They're still there. And they still, like, who knows what type of shit they've been involved in. You know, just because the environment is the environment.
I remember Junior. I remember a lot of positive shit, even though we were doing stupid shit, even though we were running around. I do remember a lot of the shit. When it came to Junior, it was all positive. Like, the nigga influenced me in as far as like how you carry yourself. How you carry yourself when it came to like street code shit. Like, watch out for this. And if it like this is how to make how to make shit right when somebody wronged you type shit. I always looked at Junior as like what would that be? Some
It's a mentor or what?
some shit like that. When it came to like how am I supposed to carry myself, I always looked up to Junior to be like, oh yeah, this is how you're supposed to react when a nigga try to check you. This is how you're supposed to react. And I remember always looking at Junior like, damn, man, this is how when I grow up, I want to be like this nigga.
Because
I remember thinking that because I remember all the time whenever shit, because when it came to shit, from pressure, when he felt pressure, nigga never caved. He always, for whatever reason, when it came to someone, even when police, I remember for whatever I don't remember what we did or I don't remember what, but I remember Fabian was getting talked to by the police because of something. I don't know what. And then Junior's always been, especially when it came to his brothers, and nigga always looked out for him no matter what. And he'd be like, don't tell him shit. Fabian, don't tell him shit. Fuck him. And the cop, I remember telling him like, hey, you want to go to jail? And he's like, fuck you. Fabian, don't tell him shit. Fuck him. And I'm like, damn. Like, when it came to people trying to, like, authority figures in society, like police officers, he didn't give a fuck. It was like, no matter what, I'm going to take care of mine. And that's why when I think of this nigga, I always think it's always positive shit. I don't have any negative shit to say about him because it seemed like he always looked out for me. And
he was always solid.
And he's always solid.
He was always solid. Yeah, I remember he was always a good person too. But it was almost more like he was the leader of the group because not once did we ever get into some shit and we ran to mom. Not once. We don't do that. Now we handle our own. And we just, like you said, we just learn from what we see. And like you said, he never backed down. And that's another thing. When you see that, when you're around that, I never backed down either. When I came to a lot of the shit happened to me. My first fight was in Grunsky. I know you said yours was in Shutter. Mine was in Grunsky, which is elementary. And what happened was we would play handball at recess. We would play handball. And one day, I went to play handball and there was this dude there. I know his name, but what's his name today? He seen me and he didn't want to let me play. And I remember I started saying shit to him and he started saying shit to me back. And I'm like, whatever. Like, he's just talking shit. I'm talking shit. And then he said something, your mom's something, about my mom. And when he said that, in my head, I'm like, we got to fight. We have to fight. He crossed the line. I was scared. I was scared to fight. But I wasn't scared enough to not do something. I walked right up to him and socked him. I don't know how to fight. Just walked up to him and socked him. Because when he said something about your mom, I don't remember what he said. But everybody was like, oh, you know how they shit like that? And that reaction told me I got to fuck him up. And I'm going to fuck him up. We started fighting. I remember we were just punching. And probably from the outside, it was probably funny because we can't fight. And he couldn't fight either. We were just hitting. I remember just hitting him like this. And just going in a circle, doing 360s. Like this. And we were both punching. Boom, 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 boom. Trying to hit each other. And then I hit him. And he dropped. And when he dropped, my confidence went through the roof. And he got to him. I started kicking him in the face. Started kicking him. Boom, boom. I hit him in the face and he was bleeding. And when I seen blood, I'm like, yeah, I fucked him up. But like, I'll never forget the feeling when I dropped him because that boosted my confidence to 1,000. Because I didn't know I could fight. Anybody can fight. You know, I don't know. I guess it was just lucky that I caught him and he didn't catch me and he dropped. And I kicked him and he started bleeding. And then I told him, you better not snitch, bitch. I told him, you better not snitch. And I ran away. And the next day, he didn't say nothing. And the next day, I showed you. I'm like, that's the dude. That's the dude I fought, remember? And you told him.
Oh, we went over there.
Yeah, you went.
He was a bigger dude. He was
bigger than me.
You're probably the same age, or I'm not sure, but he was bigger. He was taller and he was weighed more than you. I do remember it. And then he told me, and then we went up to him again.
Yeah, we went up to him again. I guess,
but it wasn't like. It was like because when the interaction that I remember we had with him, it wasn't like hateful, and it wasn't like he hated you for it. It's like he acknowledged that shit happened, and then he was just jokes. He's like, yeah,
He
like,
was just cool with it.
yeah, he was
That's
like,
that's crazy because that's not how things are. But he lost. But what did he say to you? Because I remember what he said. But you, what did he say?
because he was like, I was like, hey, he beat your ass, and he's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, he got me pretty good, and he shot, and I was bleeding. He's like, but he hit me on this side, and he said this side's made out of metal, so this side was good, but he said this side he caught me good, and then I was bleeding.
That's why I was bleeding, and I said that shit was funny. I remember he said that, but that was my first fight. That was my first fight, and ever since then, every time I got into a fight, it was just less scary, and then it just became like it was always an adrenaline booster, but it was never about me being worried to fight. It's just like today we had to fight. It's just what it is. Like, and I always knew there was always a possibility of me getting my ass whooped, but it was never like enough to scare me away. There was plenty of fights that I got into. There was this other dude, and this was Grunsky too, who was talking shit. I don't remember what he was talking shit for, but I talked shit back to him, and then he was like, "Let's fight then." And then I was like, "Well, let's fight then," because this was after the first fight. I was already told you my confidence was through the roof. I felt like I can beat anybody's ass. He told me whatever. Let's fight then. I was like, all right. And he's like, after school, meet me over there. And he pointed in the place. All right. I went and told Alex, because every time something happened, this was like early on when I met Alex. This was early on, and I told him, hey, well, we were already cool. We were already friends. And I told him, hey, I'm gonna fight this dude. So he's like, all right. So I waited for Alex outside of my classroom. Once we got out of class and he seen me, we got together, and then he's like, let's go. And then we were walking, and then Alex is like, that motherfucker's right there. And I looked, and he was running. He was running home. He had left the school, and he was on the street running. I seen him, and I start running. Me and Alex start running. Boom, 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 whatever. We damn near caught up to him. We got to the street. And then we seen each other, and I was like, let's fight, bitch. Whatever you want to fight. And then we were on the street, and he's like, come to the grass. We were at his grandma's house, I think he said it was. He's like, come to the grass. I'm like, come to the grass. We fight right here on the street. So he came, and we started fighting. And I hit him a couple times, and this motherfucker hit me with like a spinning back kick. But a spinning back kick, but it was a spinning kick because it didn't hit me in the torso area. It hit my backpack. And I remember he hit me, and it was enough to just do this to me, but it didn't damage me.
It wasn't clean?
Nah, it was just, he just, I mean.
But the spin was clean?
I mean, it kind of was clean. He probably did some shit. He probably was like training or something, because who just kicks, right? But he did a spinning kick and hit my backpack, but it was effort. It didn't do shit to me. So I went up and punched him a couple of times. When I punched him a couple of times, I was beating him up. And our cousin's mom, she drove by there. I don't know if she was there to pick up her kid, probably. She drove by there and she seen me, and she rolled the window down, and she's like right next to us. When that happened and I looked at her, we stopped fighting immediately. And she looked at me, and she just looked at me and she said, "Súbete al carro." Like that. And it wasn't like she was mad at me or nothing. No. She said, ¿Qué están haciendo? Which means, what are you doing? And I was like, nada. Which means nothing. Súbete al carro. Let's get in the car. Oh, okay. I got in the car, and I remember that quiet ass ride home.
You don't remember who she picked up? Or she was just driving by?
No, I think she was just driving by, because I don't remember seeing another kid. So maybe she was. I don't know.
It's hella weird, huh? It's hella weird how it's like there's automatic respect, huh? Whenever it came to adults, especially when it came to people we knew, my parents knew. Do you remember that?
I hold on, because I just want to finish the thing. But I remember that quiet ass ride home, and I remember thinking the whole time, damn, she's gonna tell my mom. And I'm like, damn, I'm hella worried. She's gonna tell my mom. And then she pulled up to the front of the house. She let me off, and then she drove home. She never told my mom. I was worried. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, my mom never brought it up to me. And my mom, every time I got into a fight, she would bring it up to me. But that's just how it was. Now, what are you saying?
I was gonna say, you remember, because you know how people would pull up like that? I remember also that there's a dude, I'm not sure why this dude said this, but I do remember a guy in a truck saying, hey, you know who I am? You guys, he was like, I don't know if he said like, I run this shit or what. I don't know, but it's an old dude. It's a grown motherfucker. And he was telling us to watch our backs.
This was in Saginaw. This was here.
No, this was when I'm talking about Acacia, when we lived over there. You remember that dude in the truck? Or was that here?
That was here.
What did he say? What was all that?
We were going to the park. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just say it to you and see if it's the same story. We were going to the park to play basketball. We always been around the streets.
But where? Where
this was in Saginaw. Oh, here.
I know, but like
427.
Okay.
And we were fresh to the block, maybe in like a couple months. And me, you, and Robert, which is our brother-in-law, hey, let's go play basketball at the park. So we went. We were new to the block. We walked by there. And on the way back, we were walking back home. And a dude popped up in a I don't remember if it was a truck, but he popped up and he rode super slow and he was mugging the shit out of us. And he said, y'all better not be over here with that bullshit. That's how he said it. And we're like, what the fuck? We don't know you, motherfucker. Like, and he's like, just so y'all know. He said something, just so y'all know, some shit like that. Something like that around those lines. So, some shit he said, like, he tried to, like, something along the lines, like I run this shit. Just so y'all know. But now that I think about it, like, dude, you're a grown-ass man talking to some fucking 13-year-old, 14-year-old. He's so tough. You a sucker. The fuck we do to you? We just playing basketball. But I remember, like, that's some bitch shit, man.
I don't remember that.
But I remember him saying this, and we were like, what the fuck? And we didn't even say nothing to him. Like, whatever. Like, what?
Maybe.
But that's what I think it was, but I don't know. Well, do you remember it clear enough?
Oh, shit. I do remember going to the park, but I don't remember that. I don't remember that guy saying anything. I don't remember that guy. I don't remember
Robert will probably remember.
But I remember there's a guy who came to the house. There was a guy who came to the house in a truck, in a white truck, in Acacia, and the motherfucker was looking at my bike. And he came and asked me by name. I didn't know who this motherfucker was. He pulled up to the house, knocked on the door, asked. He looked at me. He's like, "Are you Jesus?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he's like, "Where's your parents?" And my dad was sleeping, and my mom was awake. And I got my mom. And then he told my mom that I had stole his son's bike.
Yeah,
I had stole his son's bike, and that he was gonna call the police on me. And I was like, well, I don't know what the hell this nigga's talking about. I have no idea how he knows my name, how he came to the house and asked for me. And he was telling my mom where's to keep his bikes. And mom was like, he's been with me all day. And he's like, no, I don't believe you. He took my son's bike. I know he did. I know he did. So then he was looking at him. I
remember this, yeah.
I had a dyno. And he was looking at the bike, taking pictures of the serial numbers and stuff.
That bitch flipped it over and scraped your paint.
Yeah, because I had
the thing.
Oh yeah, because I had
what if
sprayed
that's vandalism, isn't it?
I think so.
He just came into a claim that you stole his bike, flipped your bike over because your bike was spray painted black. He scratched it to see the serial numbers and they didn't match. And it's like, dumbass, it's not even the same bike.
Yeah, and then he started saying, "Well, it's got to have some parts of." They took the bike part away, or the bike part. They disassembled the bike, and they did something with it. He was saying, he kept saying that, but I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. But that's the dude who said that he knows a lot of big people in Stockton, and we better watch our backs and all this shit. But I remember we were little kids. This dude was a grown ass motherfucker.
You never knew why that happened?
Well, now I do, but I don't know 100% everything.
Well, let me fill you in. This shit happened because of us. Well, one day we was riding, us and all the little homies, all the little kids. We were riding our bikes around the block. We went to the block we were not supposed to go, which was the block we had problems with, kids on the block. We went over there, I guess just because we were deep and we were just like, whatever, if they say something, we're ready. We went, nothing happened. We turned around because that block, it was a dead end. So you had to turn around. We turned around, we seen a bike in the front yard, and it was a fire bike. Like the tires had flame designs, and it looked like a cool bike, and we were all between us. Somebody was like, take it. And I was like, I'm not taking that shit. I don't want it. I have a bike, whatever. And then they were like, everybody was like talking to each other, stop being a bitch, take the bike. And then I know who took the bike, but what's his name jumped off, grabbed the bike, and then just started pedaling off, took that shit. And we took it. What's his name took it to his house. I went with him. He right away, like if we were like, this is what we do, which is not what we do, right away started disassembling that motherfucker, taking the wheels off, taking everything off. I was like, I want the tires, just the tires, because they had flame designs. I was like, I just want the tires. He, all right, you can have it. All right, so then I took the tires. He kept the rest. I don't know if he gave somebody else parts, but I didn't want the bike because I didn't want to be in possession of it. So I didn't want the bike because I didn't want to be in possession of it. So I just took the tires. I took the tires and I took it to our house, and I put it behind the shed. And then after that, somebody that was with us, what's his name? Which he's a sucker and I had problems with him. Same dude from the first episode. Him, he snitched on everybody. He said, no, this dude took it. This dude took it and this person was involved and he named me. And he even told us where we lived. That's why he came to the house looking for the shit. Because that fool ratted. He was involved or he was around. I don't remember. And he said, no, they took it. They took the bike. And that's why he came to our house and he did all that shit. By the way, we didn't have the bike. I just had the tires and it was behind the shed. But they never found it.
Yeah, I people probably, it's because my mom dressed us the same, huh? I think my mom dressed us the same all the time. She'd buy clothes from the flea market, and she would like dragon shirts from like the Chinese shops, the little Chinese thing merchants that had like clothes, dragon shirts and shit. She would buy the same shirt, and for me and you, exact same shirt, different colors.
Yeah.
So
that was early on though.
But it seemed like whenever someone's seen us, it's always like, oh, freaking the two twins. Even people say, oh, even now they say we look damn near the same. Remember how we would go to the mall or to JCPenney? Remember when we'd go buy our white tees? And the girl's like, y'all twins? Remember?
Yeah, everybody always says you guys are twins.
No.
We look hella different. There's similarities, but
to us they seem, I think we don't look the same, but everyone says we do.
I remember too, like, just to finish this off. We'll finish this off with this. I remember what's his name and his dad. He came to our house. By the story, you know who I'm talking about. He came to our house and it was late at night. And I don't remember why he came. I think he came with his dad because his dad wanted to talk to our dad. And I remember being outside. I don't know what I said to him or if I said anything to him at all, but he put me in a headlock. You know who I'm talking about now, right? He put me in a headlock in the front and he made me cry.
Yeah.
You remember? He put me in a headlock and he wouldn't let me go. And this motherfucker was older than me. And I remember I started to cry. And he just held me forever until he finally let me go. I don't know if you told him something, but he let me go. And ever since then, I had it out for that motherfucker because I was like, that motherfucker's going to feel me one day. And years passed, and he had moved somewhere because I didn't see him anymore. He came back years later. I was maybe like 11 now. And when this happened originally, maybe was like, I don't know, like 9. So it was, I was probably like 10. and this happened when I was like 8, something around that line. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit off, but he came, and I remember our cousin saying he's down the block in the party at our cousin's house because they were throwing a party, and his dad came because we all knew each other, and I'm like, let's go, because on my mind I'm like, I got to get back at him. I got to get back at for him putting me on a headlock. And everybody got all excited because they're like, oh, we're going to see a fight. And we went over there, and I was like, where is he at? And they pointed it out to me. And I seen him. He was sitting down. And I walked up to him. And I was like, what's up, bitch? Or some shit like that. Remember when you put me in the headlock? I told him. And he probably didn't even remember. And I told him, let's fight or some shit, bitch. Come outside. And he didn't want to fight me. He was scared. I kept telling him, let's fight. And he didn't want to. So eventually I'm like, you a bitch. And then I just left. And then we went to the street. And then I remember being so angry because I told everybody he don't want to fight. He's scared. And so everybody just like went off on their own because nothing happened. Nothing was going to happen. But I remember being angry. And I went to his truck, which was his dad's truck, which I now realize, and that shit was dumb for me to do this. But I went over there and I scratched the fuck out of his truck. At the back end of the bed, I just scratched the whole shit up. Like, not like, no, just like a one. Like how fucking ex-girlfriends do to motherfuckers. Just and I keyed his shit. I believe it was keyed. I don't know what I used. Oh, I used the rock, I think. Scratched the fuck out of it. And that was that. I peed on it too. Why? I don't know, but I peed on it too. And now that I think of it, I'm like, yeah, it's hella dumb of me. Like, why would I do that? Like, why would I fuck up somebody's truck for no reason? But that was what it was. But he didn't want to fight me. And I just always had the feeling of like, I got to get him back. But that was what it was.
So the reason why he got mad the first time was
when he put me in a headlock
was because he had this little action figure thing that you had broken the leg or something, or the arm. You had something of his, and I don't know if you accidentally broke it or what, but you broke it, or you had it from him and you didn't want to give it to him, and that's what he did. And I don't remember it happening. I remember coming out of the house and you were crying already, and he was walking away, and I didn't know what the heck had happened. And I remember the awkwardness between the families, because like they were just leaving. They were about to leave.
Oh, everybody seen? I don't remember. I just remember him making me cry.
I remember just coming out, and my mom was there, and his mom was there, but I think we had just come out, and then I think we all came out to it, but the whole reason was because you had. I'm not sure what happened, but he was mad that you had broken. I'm not sure if you guys were playing or what. I don't know, but
I did something.
I'm not sure if it was on purpose or what, but he got mad that the little thing was broken.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And that's why he did. I just remember coming out.
Well, if I did something, that makes the story even more fucked up, right? Because then I'm the bad dude.
Well, that's what I remember. I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but it's a possibility.
I just remember he having that little thing that was broken, and because his mom, when he came out, when we all came out, you were already crying, and then we were like, "What happened?" And you're like, "This dude hit me," and then it was just awkwardness.
But he was choking the fuck out of me.
He was probably just mad. I don't remember him.
But he was holding me tight as shit.
I don't know.
And I couldn't get out. And that's why it was like. That's why I remember like the helpless feeling I had, like I can't do shit because he's older than me and he's stronger than me. That's why when I got older, I was like, I gotta get and fuck with me now. It was almost like you bullied me. Like since you bullied me, I gotta get.
You gotta get even?
Yeah, I gotta get even. And that's why I did that. But he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight that day. But that's just what happened. And it's just how it goes. A lot of dumb shit I did as a kid, but now I could look back on it and laugh, but it is what it is. And that's how it goes. Thank you for listening to the AB podcast. You can follow us in the links below. All our social medias are linked there. If you want to buy some merch, the merch that we're usually wearing in the podcast, you can buy it as well. The link will be below.